All right, let's see if this is going to work like I want it to work. Doing some preliminary stuff here, guys. Just a minute. Not preliminary. That's not what I'm really trying to say. Um, there we go. View channel. I need to be able to see my own stuff here. All right. Oh, get voice. Bring audio down. Wait, what's wrong? There we go. All right. Looks like we got stuff. Excellent. We got communications, the ability to communicate. Go ahead and take these off. Ooh, might take me a minute to get used to this stuff. There we are, I think. Oh, cool. All right. Today we're going to tackle O. And if you were a part of or listened in or watched anytime between last week and this, the N of the Bushcraft A to Z, where we did nautical stuff. Talked about the stars and the value of orienteering. Did a little bit of talking about how nautical orienteering is a little bit different than overland orienteering, mostly because you've got stuff in the way. For when you're out to sea, there's not a whole lot in the way, but you still need to know where you are. So that's cool. That's important stuff. But if you were there and you watched the thing, you noticed that I kind of gave away this subject, today's subject. Opticals, headlamps, monoculars, binoculars. So we're going to cover this kind of a thing. So a lot of times what happens when people go into the woods and do bushcrafty things, the experience, let me speak a moment. Oftentimes it's a group of people and they go to a national park or something like that, and they're just going, they go camping and they pitch their tent, pitch their hammock, and uh, have some of the best times. Honestly, that some of the absolute best, wonderful times around the campfire. Some of the best food you've ever eaten in your entire life, and some of the best happy people that you'll ever meet. But the situation where monoculars and binoculars come into play are when you are solo camping. So for a lot of people, that's actually a hard thing to do. I've known lots of people who their bushcraft skills are on point. They go to all the gatherings, they go to all the Native American celebrations and the powwows and things, and they love it. It's that's their thing. And what happens is when they want to go do this on their own, they go out by themselves, not to a national park. They find some property that they have permission to be on for the weekend or whatnot, and they go camping solo by themselves, and they've got their skills, so there's no fear of them uh, being lost or having a bushcraft situation turn into a survival situation. There's no fear of that. They're good. People know where they are. They're not too far away, but far enough. And um, you will I don't know what the common wall that people are hitting is it's an unfamiliar territory. As familiar as it is, being in the woods alone is a new beast, totally new beast, and they don't know how to do it. They don't know. They know how, but when you're solo camping, you're the only one giving yourself entertainment. Kind of. There's a caveat. Um, so let me just a second. Can I share? I can share. Okay, let me do that. No, not Facebook Messenger. Facebook work like it needs to. Okay, it says I'm back alive, although it is showing. There we go. That's a lot better. Elongated. There we go. So anyway, the thing people discover is when you sit with yourself. For certain people, that's a hard thing to do. If you want to go, we can go back to some of our even it's somewhat recent. Within the last 10 years, so 5.5 years now, when we had the lockdowns, if you lived alone, you learned a very valuable lesson, along with maybe a couple other skills. And one of those is being able to spend time with yourself, uh, being in good company, creating good company. That's a hard thing to do sometimes. When you are like, I'm coming back around. When you get there where you can solo camp regularly or at least a few times, one of the things you do that works as a thing that you can do then while you were solo camping is bird watching or nature observation or watching. If you think about ancient Chinese practices, there was no such thing as being able to be anywhere else in a second's time. You always had to transfer through walking, riding, whatever, to another place to be there. However, right now, I'm in your living room. I might be on your toilet not like, I'm wherever you are. So that's a concept that way back in ancient days did not exist. That being said, the Chinese people, martial artists, recognized nature as being the thing to emulate. And so they, crane style and tiger style and all these other things that came about from watching nature, watching animals in their natural environment be themselves, how they walked, whether it's like the hair the rabbit, where when they hop, they put their front feet down first and then go past that to land on their hind feet in front of their front feet, and then they front feet come forward and land. Um, you learn this through tracking, where whether or not they're a pace walker, where it's left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, or whether it's a diagonal walker. Human beings are diagonal walkers, left, right, left, right, left, right. So as we walk, we pass our hand. Our hand goes backwards as that leg comes forward. And so all this has to do with your opticals paying attention to your environment. Headlamps are also a thing. So before you go out in the woods on a solo hike and you're by yourself and your goal is your goal is to find something cool to look at, you'll accomplish your goal if that's your goal. And then you have your binoculars and you're looking through. I like the monocular, so that's my side for monocular. There's binoculars like that, right? So I put my monocular up and I'm looking through it, kind of like you would do through a rifle scope, right? A lot of people use rifle scopes as monoculars, but we're talking about solo camping and what you do when you're solo camping. One of the things that you do is watching nature, looking at nature, and paying attention to the things, the natural animals and such. One of the things you do is you bring yourself a monocular or a binocular with you to look at distant areas as if they're closer. So monoculars or binoculars or scope, if you want to go that route. We talked a little bit about how when you solo camp, so it was a pre-conversation. As a conversation kind of led up to this, it was that a lot of people, even with great bushcraft skill, can't solo camp. They have to camp with a group because they're not comfortable with themselves by themselves. And so we had a little bit of talk about that. And we talked about Chinese martial arts and how that fits in. So that would be interesting. Anyway, the headlamps, monoculars, binoculars, everything optical, like this thing. If I remember correctly, your eyes are the same size from birth to death. I may be wrong, but there's something specific about the eye. It doesn't change, and like the lens glosses over a little bit as you get older and stuff. But I'm learning that myself. Having to pull these out and go like, okay, what am I looking at? Oh, there we go. It looks better now. Oh, wonderful. But the idea of protecting your eyes, wearing sunglasses, because a lot of times people don't get that wearing sunglasses is actually a form of personal protection. It's a PPE where you are protecting your eyes from sun damage. Give me a second. We pause for the calls here. That's good. If you one of the other things with opticals is nighttime vision, and my phone is actually one of those interesting ones that has night vision. I would rather it have thermal, which there was there's a version of the phone I have that has thermal on it, but it's really expensive. Um, and they get that. I understand why. Um, but I have night vision, so I've got my camera module has 4 items on it, and in those 4 items, there below that there's two. They look like little lights, but when I turn on the night vision camera, those little lights will glow red in front of the camera. I've got it here, and in front of that, you'll see the two red lights. The red lights are UV lights, and the camera is a UV camera. So it's not anything special. Can't look very distant or anything like this. But if I've got the screen resolution, screen brightness down enough, then I can I can look at what's in front of me and see better. Um, but barring that, I mean that's expensive anyway. Barring that, your best thing is to use some headlamps and headlamps with color change. So red for night vision. So not night vision, but it's you want a red colored lamp to illuminate everything red, so that because if it's a white pool of light, your irises close up, and it closes up in like 30 seconds to a minute. That's how fast it does. To get your irises to widen back up again to start taking in more light, that's half an hour. So um, a single flash of light, someone had a flashlight, right? So this is a flashlight, and they did this and turn it on and put it in your face for a second. Your night vision's gone. You have to wait another half hour before you can get it back. Um, Conversely, if you use a red light, you can still see what you've got, what's in front of you, and things like this. You can read text, unless, of course, you're reading a Bible that has like the blood, the Jesus words in blood in red. Then it's invisible. And that's an interesting analogy, but not that I'm Christian. Uh, you can read text. You can do just about everything else, and then so you've got the white flood of light, and just because it's brighter, I would use those during dawn and dusk to assist in light. Well, I would use it actually in dawn, not dusk. In dusk, I would actually use a green light. Now, green is most often used when blood tracking. So if a person's hunting and they shoot a deer, but the deer ran off a little bit, we don't know where the deer is. Deer are very good at camouflage. Can't find the deer. And if he laid down and died, he's not moving, so we're not knowing any other way that where he is. Um, and if it's nighttime, you get out the green light, and red blood, pops out among the green foliage. The green turns the foliage turns like gray, but the red is like in your face, and so it's known as the blood tracking filter. However, it also helps you less so with night vision and is brighter. So if you need that, that's what I do and during the on dusk. Now, if it's dawn, I'll go ahead and use the green for a little bit, but then I'll swap off to the white because it's about to be day anyway. This might seem boring, but if you think about it, this thing. You're not getting a new set. We don't have that technology yet. We might one day, but let's act like we don't until that happens. I've heard two phrases which seem to be oddly at odds, but also in the same direction. It says, live your life as if you were born yesterday. Bright and shiny, everything's alive. Live your life as if you're going to die tomorrow. Bright, shiny, everything's alive. Like it's really interesting how it doesn't really matter because the goal remains the same. So my thinking oftentimes is do both. So live your life as if you were just now born. So then therefore you can make plans for tomorrow. Live your life as if you're going to die tomorrow. Make every day fully lived. So the thing we do is when it comes to the concept and the life benefit of understanding opticals when it comes to Bushcraft A to Z, when it comes to Bushcraft, the life version of that thing that really enhances our life is learning to pay attention to things we have previously learned to take for granted. So let me say that. Learn to pay attention to those things that we have previously learned to take for granted. In the Bujinkan and Nijutsu, we talk about being aware of dead air spaces. So in bushcraft, dead air spaces correlate with insulation and help with the slow dissipation of slow dissipation of your body heat, so that you can stay warm for longer. Dead air spaces in the Bujinkan and Ninjutsu deal with when the eyes scan a room for the very first time, brand new room, you've never been there. When your eyes scan that room, it takes a series of pictures. Click, 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 click. Right? And this works everywhere. You're going down a road that you've never been. Click, 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 click. Everywhere. Doesn't matter. But we use a room as it's easy to understand. So when you go back to that room, and you go down that road again, when you go back to that room, your mind tells your eyes to look in those same locations. It's the brain's attempt at being efficient while at the same time less thorough, because you took a whole bunch of pictures. There are places in between the pictures, and that's where the ninja would be. Okay, so dead air spaces, we would, as a part of society, we would take these pictures in our brain and think that when we go back to that same room and see those same things in those same places, that the room is as if the first time you went. Like nothing's changed. And then we take for granted the fact that we think those dead air spaces are just as dead as when we first didn't take those pictures. That's bad. So if you learn to look into those places, just ask yourself the question, when you go back to a place that you've been before, ask yourself, go through those pictures. You can do that. And then go, well, what else is there? And then as you go into that room again, go like, fill in those gaps. Fill in those gaps so that so that you get a better understanding of what's really going on in that room. And that's opticals. That's seeing things as they truly are, and not as we would like them to be. That's a valuable lesson. So all that being said, is I hope this has helped a little bit. I've rambled just a little bit, but I don't know if you've noticed, if you look closely, every little subject, even when we talked about Chinese martial arts, stayed on task. We stayed on task when we went to China. So that's important to understand too. In the meantime, until next time, our next one's P. And I'm going to make it a goal to make O being the only one that I mess up. I've already messed up once. It's the last time. So anyway, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. We're almost we're coming close to looks like 3/5 of the way there. Nice. Um, look for another live video sometime this week coming, maybe two. I'll post across platforms just to give everybody a chance to get on. I mean, I don't want to do a spontaneous live. I've done them before, but that was just those spontaneous lives. They're alive, so if someone wants to get on, they can. But it's just one of those. I don't want to make it a production. It needs to be raw footage. Anyway, I hope you guys are good. Stay dry out there. It's kind of thundery out there right now, but that's only if you're in my area. If you're not, that's great. That's great too. Be safe. Whatever you do, get lost, but never lose your way.